नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत्। शृण्वता स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवण कीर्तन हृदयन्तोस्ति अवृदानि विधुनोति सुहृतं सतां। नष्टप्रायेषु अभ्रदेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय हो। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। लोकाभिरामं रणरङ्गधीरं राजीवनेत्रं रघुवंशनाथं कारुण्यरूपं करुणाकरन्तं श्रीरामचन्द्रं शरणं प्रपद्ये। जय Shri Ram. First of all, I would like to welcome each and every one of you and a very happy Navami, a very special day today. Before beginning, I would like to bow down to each and every one of you and ask for your blessings so that I can be empowered to speak on Shri Ram. Vanchakalpatrubhishta kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. So a day when the Supreme Lord takes an incarnation, comes to this gutter-like material world just for fallen souls like us. This is a day when the Supreme Lord takes a human-like form, perform human-like pastimes to attract humans like us, so that just by getting attracted to Him, we might be able to stop our cycle of birth and death. It is said that Supreme Lord takes birth so that we don't take another birth. He takes birth so that we stop our birth. Now all the pastimes of the Lord are recorded in the epic Ramayana, one of the most famous and most ancient itihasas we have, Ramayana. Now this Ramayana works in three phases. The first phase is that it gives entertainment to the ears. While listening to the pastimes of Lord Ram, it gives entertainment to the ears. And when all those pastimes are thought of, pondered on different meanings, that what this means, what the meaning arises from this pastime, it gives enrichment to the mind. So that's the second phase. In the third phase, it gives enjoyment to the ears, enrichment to the mind, and in the third phase, when those teachings are applied in real life, it gives enlightenment in the heart. So first phase, entertainment to ears, enrichment to mind, and enlightenment to the heart. All by the pastimes of Lord Shri Ram. Now this Ramayana is divided into different sections, specifically talking about Valmiki Ramayana. Well, Valmiki divided the Ramayana into Bal Kand, Ayodhya Kand, Aranya Kand, Kishkinda Kand, Sundar Kand, Yuddha Kand, and Uttar Kand. Now, in all these kands, the pastimes that Lord performs are all filled with uncertainties. In just one night, everything changed. One night ago, Lord Ramachandra was supposed to be coronated as a king. In just one night, he had to go to an exile. In one night, Dashrath Maharaj, who was so happy till yesterday, the other day he became so sad he had to leave his body. Mother Sita, who was living in a palace like a princess, the other day she had to go in the forest without any ornaments. Bharat Maharaj, who till yesterday was living with his relatives and was totally peaceful, now, because Lord Ramachandra went to exile, he was the one who was seen as a culprit, just in one night. The deer came and took everything away from Lord Ram. Little did Lord Ramachandra knew that his trip outside of Ayodhya would turn out to be a trip overseas. Little did Ravan knew that his Ashok Vatika, his Swarna Lanka, would turn to be ashes in no time. All happened because of one night. All these pastimes give us so many teachings. You see, we all have heard Ramayana, watched Ramayana on TV, maybe read Ramayana a number of times. Even in Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 9th canto, when Shukdev Goswami is going to describe the pastimes of Lord Ram, he says, Tasya anucharitam rajan, Rishvi tattva darshivi, Shrudamhi varnitam bhuri, tvaya sita patermu. He says that, O Parikshit Maharaj, what should I say about Lord Ram? You've already listened to these pastimes from so many great sages, so many number of times that you know everything. What should I tell you? Well, even after saying that, Shukdev Goswami describes whole Ramayana in just 2 chapters. Every great king, every great leader in the world has listened to Ramayana, followed Ramayana, and got teaching from Ramayana. What to say of normal human-like kings of the earth, even the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna himself? It is described that when he was in Dwarka as Dwarkadhish, he used to listen to Ramayana every afternoon. Every afternoon he would listen to his own pastimes, because all these pastimes are filled with nectarian meanings. In the Balkand, when Lord Ramachandra, Bharatji, Lakshmanji, Shatrughan. Well, first of all, Ram Navami is not only Ram Navami. It's Lakshman Navami also, it's Bharat Navami also, and Shatrughan Navami also. All 4 brothers took birth on the same day. In Valmiki Ramayana, it is described that when they took birth, they were put in a jhulan. Ramji and Bharatji was in one jhula, and Lakshmanji and Shatrughanji in one jhula, and all of them were crying, but except Lakshmanji. But Lakshmanji was crying more louder. You see, in this world, when a child takes birth, and if he don't cry, that's a problem. If a newborn kid doesn't cry, that's a problem. Nurse picks him, hits him, and makes him cry. To tell him that this world everyone is crying. So how come you are not crying? The very moment you are born, you're crying in this world. But on the other hand, Lakshmanji, representing a normal person like us, shows us that you will definitely cry in this world. But as soon as you are near to Lord Ram, you will start laughing, you will be giggling, you will be happy. The moment you are away from Shri Ram, the moment you are away from God consciousness, from God, you will be crying in the world. For example, in Ramayana, 2 great personalities are compared. I want to talk about Ravan first. Now, Ravan, also known by the name Dashmukha. Dash means 10 and Mukha means mouth. That personality who had 10 mouths was Ravan, Dashmukha. Now, all the mouths of Ravan, were they inwards, were they looking downwards, or were they always looking outwards? They were always looking for outwards for enjoyment, for sense gratification. Well, Acharya explained that the 10 mouths of Ravan represents 10 senses that we have. 5 knowledge acquiring senses and 5 karma senses, working senses. That personality who is always trying to give pleasure to his senses, always looking outwards like Ravan, that personality lives in a place called Lanka. Now, Lanka in Sanskrit means that place where everyone cries. Ravan, who had 10 heads, who was always looking for enjoyment outside, lived in a place called Lanka, which means he's always crying, always weeping. That personality who has a tendency to look for pleasure in this world with all his senses outwards, looking for pleasure here and there, that personality is going to live in a place called Lanka. That means his life is going to be filled with problems, filled with miseries. He will definitely cry. But on the other hand, we have a personality called Dashrath. Now Dash means 10 and Rath means chariot. That personality who can fight with in 10 directions and still win, that personality is Dashrath. But Rath in Sanskrit also means senses. That personality whose senses were in totally control, totally peaceful, that personality was Dashrath. And as a result, the personality who had his senses controlled lived in a place called Ayodhya. Yodhya means a place where there is war, where there is fight, where there is battle. Ayodhya means that place which is peaceful. There is no fight, there is no battle. So that personality who controlled his 10 senses lived in a place called Ayodhya, and as a result, who appeared to him? Shri Ram. Shri Ram appeared to Dashrath, not to Dashmukh, because he was completely peaceful, completely under control, showing him that how important it is to control our senses, control our mind, control our emotions. Well, Shri Ram is always eager to accept us, no matter how we are. In Sundarkand, when Shri Ram was trying to make a bridge to Lanka, Vibhishan came to him. He surrendered to Shri Ram. He came and said, Shri Ram, I want to surrender to you, because Ravan rejected him. So when he came there, the monkey stopped him. Monkey said, you're a Rakshas. How is it possible that a mango grows on a neem tree? In a Rakshas family, how come a devotee is born? But the monkey is called Lord Ram. And Shri Ram asked monkeys, what should I do with this Vibhishan? Should I accept him? Should I give him shelter? Well, the monkey said, no, you should not. Well, then he asked Sugriv. Sugriv said the same thing. But then he asked Hanuman, then what should I do? Well, Hanuman said, Swami, whoever comes to you, you have to give shelter. Vibhishan said, I bow down to you and surrender myself to you. And Shri Ram said, well, Vibhishan, if you're surrendering to me, I'm announcing you as the king of Lanka. Well, the monkeys got mad. You haven't fought with Ravan yet. You haven't won Lanka yet. And you're making Vibhishan, announcing Vibhishan as the king of Lanka without even you yourself having Lanka. How is it possible? What if Ravan comes and bow downs to you? What will you do then? Well, Shri Ram said, if Ravan comes and bows down to me once, I will make him the king of Ayodhya and give Lanka to Vibhishan. Well, the monkeys got more mad. Then, now this is a bigger problem, because Ayodhya is being ruled by Bharat right now. What about if Bharat comes and bows down to you? Well, Shri Ram said, if Vibhishan is getting Lanka, Ravan is getting Ayodhya, then if Bharat comes and bows down, I will give him Vaikuntha. I will make him the king of Vaikuntha. So the monkeys got more mad. He said, the Supreme Lord, you are the king of Vaikuntha. If you give Lanka to Vibhishan, Ayodhya to Ravan, Vaikuntha to Bharat, where will you rule? Where will you stay? Well, Shri Ram said, if I do all this, I will stay in the heart of Hanuman, who has full love for me. I will rule the city of heart of Hanuman, and will be peacefully sitting there. He is ready to accept Rakshas, born in a Rakshik family. But will he not accept us? Well, what about humans? Let's go to Aranyakand. In Aranyakand, it is described when Shri Ram used to go in forest barefoot, without any sandals, without anything to protect his feet. the thorns in the forest will stuck into his feet, and his feet will start bleeding. Now, Lakshman and Sita Maya, their heart will start bleeding, seeing the lotus feet of Shri Ram bleeding. So they wouldn't say anything to Shri Ram, but at the night time, when Shri Ram would be resting, would be sleeping, Lakshman would go and try to take the thorns out of his feet. And as he will try to take the thorns out, his feet will start bleeding again. And as a result, Shri Ram would wake up and stop Lakshman. Now this happened for quite a number of times. And Lakshman got really angry. He was bleeding within himself. That how could he see his life and soul Shri Ram bleed every day? So he asked Mother Sita, that you try. So Mother Sita also tried. But the same thing, Shri Ram would refuse. Then one day they asked Shri Ram, why are you not allowing us to get these thorns out of your feet? Don't you feel pain? Well, Shri Ram said, Sakrit ev prapanyaya tavyasmi iti chachate abhayam sarvabhuteshu dadami etat vratam mama. That what about these thorns? Anyone who comes to me, surrenders to me, I will make him fearless and will accept him. No matter if they make me believe, no matter if they give me problems, whoever comes to me, I will give him shelter. Dadami etat vratam mama. The personality who just comes once and bows down to Shri Ram and says that Shri Ram, from now on I'm yours. Shri Ram never leaves him. Never. The point is, if he is ready to give shelter to Rakshas, if he is ready to accept thorns even if they make him bleed, will he not accept us? Well, he is ready to accept us, but are we ready to surrender? That's the main question. Are we ready to leave our material desires, to leave all the 6 bad qualities we have, Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moho, Matsar, Ityadi, and surrender to Shri Ram? Because if we are, then let's talk about what's the essence of whole Ramayana. There are so many pastimes in whole Ramayana, but I want to talk about the essence of whole Ramayana. For that, let's ask what Lord Shiva has to say about it. Now, you see, Ramayana that we have in this world, in this Bhulok, consists of 24,000 shlokas. But Puranas explain that there is Ramayana in every lok. In some lok, it is like 5 lakh shlokas. In some lok, it's like 1 crore shlokas of Ramayana. But in Brahmalok, which is the topmost planetary system in this material world, has Ramayana, which is 100 crore shlokas. 100 crore shlokas. Now Shivji, being the greatest devotee of Lord Ram, got his hands on this Ramayana. And as soon as he got the hands on this Ramayana, he wanted to read it. So he sat with Mother Parvati and opened the Ramayana. And as soon as he saw it has 100 crore shlokas, Shivji thought, what would I do with these many shlokas? The whole world is suffering because they are not in contact with Shri Ram. So it is my duty, it is my compassion that I should distribute this Ramayana. So Shivji gave 33 crore shlokas in the upper planetary systems, 33 crore shlokas in the middle planetary systems, 33 crore shlokas in the lower planetary systems. And all he was left with was 1 crore shlokas. Now 1 crore was also too much for Shivji. So he thought, why not to divide this also? So he gave 33 lakh up, 33 lakh middle, 33 lakh to lower planetary systems. Now he was left with 1 lakh shlokas. But that was still too much for Lord Shiva. He again divided 33,000 up, 33,000 middle, 33,000 to the lower planetary systems. Now all he was left with was 1,000 shlokas. But still he was not satisfied. So he again distributed them. 333 up, 333 middle, 333 to the lower planetary systems. And all he was left with was 1 shloka. Now even that shloka, it is described that was in Anushtup Chand. Anushtup Chand means a shloka which has 32 syllables. 4 lines, total 32 syllables, 8 syllables in each line. Now Shivji was not even satisfied with that. He said, how can I take 1 shloka for myself when the whole world is suffering? So Shivji distributed that also. 10 shlokas, 10 shlokas, 10 shlokas. 10 words. And all he was left with was 2 syllables. Mother Parvati asked, what are these 2 syllables? Well, Shivji said, would you believe that these 2 syllables are the essence of whole Ramayana? Well, Mother Parvati said, I wouldn't believe it. Shivji said, these 2 syllables are Ra and Ma. Ram, the essence of whole Ramayana. This holy name of the Lord, Shivji says, is so glorious that even if I get whole sky as a paper and all the water of the oceans as ink, I would still not be enough. That will still not be enough to glorify the name of the Lord. Srimad Bhagavatam explains that this name of the Lord is not different from the Lord. Kali Kal Nama Rupe Krishna Avatar. See, in Kali Yuga, this is Kali Yuga going on. Just 5,000 years has passed and still 4,32,000 years, 4,27,000 years are still pending. And it is described in Srimad Bhagavatam that Kali Yuga will be so bad after 10,000 years, there will be acid rains, all vegetations will be depleted, there will be no vegetables to eat, and humans will start eating themselves. The age of humans will decrease to 50 years maximum. And well, we are seeing that day by day, the age is decreasing, intelligence is decreasing, quarrel is going on, hypocrisy is going on, day by day it's increasing. Well, Srimad Bhagavatam says, Kaler doshide rajan, asti hai ego mahan guna. That this Kali Yuga is filled with miseries, but there is a great benediction in this Kali Yuga. The greatest benediction that even other yugas don't have. And what is that benediction? Kaler doshide rajan, asti hai ego mahan guna, kirtanat eva krishnasya mukta sangha param prachit. That the name of the Lord, the kirtan of the name of the holy name of Shri Hari, Shri Ram, Shri Krishna, that is the essence of everything, and that is the most greatest benediction in this Kali Yuga. Everything you want, whether material, whether spiritual, the name has the power to give it. Every power that Shri Ram, Shri Krishna has, that power is there in the name of the Lord. Nam Namakari Bahuda Nitya Sarva Shakti. All the power of Shri Ram, Shri Krishna is present in his name. You see, this name is just like a sun. Wherever there is sun, there is no darkness. Wherever there is sun, there is no darkness. Our hearts, which are filled with darkness, with lust, greed, anger, pride, envy, and whatnot, are just like the darkness of our consciousness. As soon as we give this Ram Nam Jyoti space on our tongue, all the darkness in the heart will just disappear. Because where there is sun, there is no darkness. You see, in Ramayana, Ramji killed one Ravana. But today, everyone has a Ravana inside him. Ravana is present everywhere, in each and every one of us, in the core of our hearts. If Ravan can be killed by Shri Ram in Treta Yuga, he can still be killed in Kali Yuga. But the medium is the name of Shri Ram. You see, Sita ji, who was the property of Shri Ram, who was the consort of Shri Ram, was the property of Shri Ram, of Ravan. Now in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Mamiv amshi jiva loka jiva bhuta sanatana. That you all are my property. We are just like Sita. We are the property of Shri Ram. But we are in the material world, which is filled with Ravan, which is the place of Ravan. And Shri Ram liberated Mother Sita in Treta Yuga from the custody of Ravan, and he has again came in Kali Yuga to take us back to him, to Ayodhya. And the train that has come this time, that has been sent by Shri Ram, the name of that train is Hare Krishna Mahamantra Express. As soon as you board this train of Hare Krishna Mahamantra Express and gives this priority, takes a ticket by taking initiation, board this train following the 4 regulative principles, and keeps on chanting the Mahamantra at least 16 rounds a day, that train will take you back to Ayodhya, to Vaikuntha, to the lotus feet of Shri Ram, Shri Hari, Shri Krishna. So the point is, train is here, but are we ready to board the train? Are we all ready? No, right? When we have to become ready. And the process to purchase that ticket also is the name of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is the ticket to that train. So it depends on us if we want to buy that train or not. Well, we have to buy the ticket to board the train. And then train will take us back to our home, back to Godhead, back home. So I request every one of you who is present here to at least start chanting the Maha Mantra. Start chanting the holy name of the Lord. And you will yourself feel a difference in yourself. All the darkness will just dissipate. And you will be totally joyful, totally happy. Because when you chant the Maha Mantra, when you chant the name of the Lord, you are directly associating with the Lord. And Ramayana says it very beautifully, with which I want to conclude. A verse from the Aranyakand. Sandranand payod saubhagatanam pitambaram sundaram pano ban sharasaram katila sattunir bharam varam rajiv ayat lochanam dhrit jat jute samshobhitam sita lakshman samhitam patigatam rama abhiramam bhajam. The verse says, it describes the form of Shri Ram. Sandranand payod. That the form of Shri Ram is condensed bliss. It's made of bliss. As soon as you come in contact with Shri Ram, whether in the form of deity, whether in the form of his name, whether in the form of his pastimes, or whether in the form of his devotees, you will feel that bliss. Sandranand. Payodha. Payodha means he has a blackish complexion, a bluish dark complexion, a blackish complexion which makes him so beautiful. And what he's wearing? Pitambaram sundaram. A dhoti of pita, of yellow color, just like Sri Krishna used to wear. Pitambaram dharam. And what he's doing in forest? How is he? Pano ban sharasaram katila tunir bharam param. That he's having a bow in his hand, arrows in his quiver, which is very heavy and tied to his beautiful waist. Rajiv ayat lochanam dhrit jat jute samshobhitam. That he has lotus eyes. Eyes just like lotus petals. And his hair is just like a sadhu. And what he is doing in the forest? Sita Lakshman Samvidham Patigatam. That he is moving with Shri, Sita and Ram, Sita and Lakshman in the forest. And they are looking so beautiful. To that Shri Ram, Ram Abhiramam Bhajam. I bow down to that lotus feet of Shri Ram and ask for the blessings for every one of us. That he may accept us, he may provide us shelter, and he may give ruchi in his holy name, so that we can ultimately go back to him. Jai Shri Ram. Hare Krishna.